Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. So, yeah. So we were discussing about what generation we are in. At the time, was I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So in the earlier days, what happens is that as even the Gen Z kids, people used to say like he always gives like supposing when anyone comes to home and if they start giving advice, people they don't like to get the advice at all. And usually the elder people they don't give the advice wherein they share their experience, but these people do not like the advice at all. They always say like this guy is a boomer guy, he is a boomer uncle. Hopefully you would have heard this term called boomer uncle. He is a boomer uncle. Always this guy comes in and he always gives advice to us, so which we don't like. So people they don't like advice at all, and that too after the scenario of post-COVID scenario. Post-COVID is after this Corona scenario after 2020. People they don't have tolerance level at all. The Gen Z kids they do not have tolerance level at all, which means they don't have patience at all. Which means they wanted things to happen instantaneously. Immediately they wanted to happen. They wanted their things to get happen, and if it is not, they get tense, they get angry. Hopefully, you would have encountered such situations by seeing all your kids or your students even they uh, they wanted anything and everything to be done at a easier way, at a smooth way. So because of this what happens is that us, and that is about Gen Z kid. But now after 2012 we have the Gen Alpha kids. Gen Alpha kids are even more tedious, which means they wanted to have only like they wanted to they are all born with a digital spoon. They are not born with a silver spoon. They are born with a digital spoon, which means they wanted when they wanted to eat, they eat only with their mobile phone, and when they want to sleep, they sleep along with the mobile phone. When they want to drink, walk, dance, bath, anything and everything, they do with the mobile phone only. So always they are with the mobile phone. That is the Gen Alpha kids. Whereas Gen Z kids are they don't like to get advice, and they wanted everything and everything to happen at a smoother and an easier pace. So what happens over here is when aged people, like people who are born somewhere around in 1946 or prior to that, they are all called as the silent generation. Which means if it is of more than 1946, it is more than nearly more than 80 years of there will be more than 80 years, wherein they will be playing with their grandchildren, great grandchildren, so on and so forth. And they wanted anything and everything to be they wanted to happen in a disciplined way. So those people are very old people. They stick on to kind of discipline factors. Then came in the guys called as baby boomers. From people who are born between 1946 and 1964, they are called as the baby boomers. As far as the baby boomers are concerned, they are the people who give who share their experiences, who value stability, loyalty, and legacy, wherein wherein they wanted to give some kind of guidance to the youngsters, which the youngsters they don't like it at all. So even if it is of 1964, then again it is somewhere around they have become senior citizen or becoming senior citizen. So those people are said to be the baby boomers. Then comes the Gen X kids. Hopefully, many of the lecturers over here may be part of if you are in the position of HOD or Dean, you will be part of this Gen X. If you are born between 1965 and 1980, you will be a Gen X kid. They wanted to take their family to the next level. They wanted to protect their family, and for that reason, what happens is that is they actually they wanted to have sweet and safe family along with them. So they still work or they own some companies. They are in some kind of high positions. So those people are Gen X, wherein if even in the teaching field, if there are many head of the departments are in the dean level positions, people will be there in the Gen X position only, which means they are in 27% who are independent, pragmatic, and delivery focused. Then people whomsoever is born between 1981 and 1996, hopefully, if a guy is born in 1995, then by this time he would have crossed 30 years. Those people are the more sufferers, like even in the radio and all, people will be saying the 90s kids, they didn't get married at all because they are all growth oriented. Growth oriented in the sense they invest a lot in the kind of share market, mutual funds, so on and so forth, and they wanted to save something, achieve something. So they wanted to work on a collaborative mode, and such people are called as the millennial people. Why are they called as a millennial people? Because they are near to this millennium edition of 2000, so they are called as a millennial people. And then comes our guy, Gen Z kids, people whomsoever is born between 1997 and 2012, wherein those people are also nowadays tech savvy. They are not so tech savvy as the Gen Alpha kids, but they are also tech savvy. They have a native, they are tech native because when they are born itself, they had many kind of computers were also there. In our generation, we didn't have much of computers. We didn't have much of system to be used. So when we were fed with food, people, the grannies were showing us the moon and the stars, and by seeing, by hazing the moon and the stars, people were eating all rice items and other things. But nowadays, including the grannies, none of them take their kids or their grandkids and show them moon and the stars and make them eat. Instead, including the grannies, moms and grannies, they also watch the mobile phone. They also sit along with the kids, watch the mobile phones, and even for them also for eating, they require mobile phone nowadays. And to be honest, most of your my household people, along with the kids, initial days people would have scolded the kids, but after a certain span, along with the kids, even we people have become accustomed to watch cartoon movies like Shinchan, Doraemon, what else, Chota Beam, Motu Badlu, so on and so forth, including my house. So what happens is, it is these people are all Gen Z kids, wherein they are already, they are tech native, so they wanted to enjoy their life. They wanted anything and everything to be obtained in an easy manner, and they don't have tolerance level, they don't have patience level, and that is the reason even in the recent days, even some 2 months back, like 4 months back, I got one project from UGC, travel grant and the project grant for traveling to Indo Sri Lanka, wherein I was asked to monitor the stress level of higher education studying students in the post-COVID era, both in India and Sri Lanka. So what happens is that I checked, I went to certain colleges, found out, shared, circulated certain questionnaire, got certain results of how their stress level is in terms of pursuing their higher education or their BTech or MTech degree. The same set of questionnaire, but with a different flavor for the abroad. So I went to Sri Lanka some 2 months back, wherein I circulated the same set of questionnaire and got the relations, got the results. Based on both these results, we combined and a deep learning model was framed, and then we were able to analyze how people are stressful in India, how people do their higher education in Sri Lanka. So there are two different situations. In India, people, our Gen Z kids, they do not have a kind of tolerance level. They wanted everything at their hand. They will sit in one place. They wanted their mom and dad to come behind them to bring coffee, tea. They don't even go out and have coffee or tea. And most of them, they don't play. Along with the Gen Alpha kids, Gen Z kids also nowadays, they don't go for playing at all. But maybe ours will be the last generation wherein we went outside and we were on the ground playing. And most of the Gen Z kids nowadays, they don't play at all. Like play in the sense they always play with the help of the kind of mobile phones, with the kind of video games, with the kind of any kind of online games. So that is the major disadvantage of having the Gen Z kids, and because of them, even we are also getting accustomed along with them, because they try to train us in such a way that we also sit along with them, watch Shinchan, Doraemon, and other cartoons for that matter. So this Gen Z people are from 1997 to 2012, and post 2012 are the kind of digital first people who always works with the kind of uh, iPads, tabs, and so on. And
எனக்கு ஒரு நாள் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் ஒரு வாட்டி வாங்கிட்டு இருந்தாங்களே அந்த ஹோட்டலா மேம்
and and people are going to like they wanted to become an entrepreneur. Even in our institution, what we have done is, apart from making this Gen Z kids, we have also have an entrepreneurship cell wherein we have somewhere around 27 companies opened by our own students, our own second year, third year students. You know one thing, last month one student, he has some roots in UK. So based on which he checked in the UK education environment, and from there he got one order for building school automation software for a price of 4 crore Indian rupees. Then, if such was the case of getting one order for 4 crores, that is the reason many of the Gen Z kids are not willing to go for job at all. And more often, even their parents are also nowadays become a sort of work from home option. They have also chosen work from home option. So by seeing them, they also claim, hey, you are not going to office, you always sit in home, you always clean utensils, you always floor the like clean the floors, and you are here but you are earning a lot, so we will also not go to the job. But this Elon Musk and other Infosys chairman Narayana Murthy, they say like people have to work for 80 hours and 100 hours a week. But these people wanted to sit, sleep, enjoy their life along with their parents. But parents, they would have gone in their earlier days. But nowadays, these people also wanted to enjoy this situation. So, likewise, the Gen Z kids are. Now, in terms of learning, so hopefully by now, you might be aware, like you are in which generation. Either you are hopefully you will not be in the silent generation. Hopefully you might be a baby boomer or Gen Z, or you will be in the millennial generation, wherein in the case of the Gen Z kids, the Gen Z kids are the kids who are studying their education, engineering, or maybe just completed. Now, what sort of education has been imparted and how it has been imparted? I do not know how many of you know these types of goggies. Hopefully, people would have been made known about this pedagogy. What is pedagogy? Pedagogy is fed is the child, wherein the method wherein in the child, Goggy is how do you make your practice? So, Pedagogy is teaching the children, and it is teacher directed towards the children. Hence, it is called as pedagogy. How many of you are aware of this andragogy? Andragogy is training the adult. For example, let us assume that a guy has completed his engineering or his arts and science. He had got an offer to serve in a company in Germany. So what will he do? Before he starts travel, he will enroll himself towards a German class. When he's going to enroll himself towards the German class, at the time he will be in a mature position, wherein, although he is in a mature position, he is going to learn the ABCs of German language. So, an adult will be teaching one other adult. And such a kind of teaching methodology, they call it as andragogy. And we have this heutagogy. As far as heutagogy is concerned, one moment, please hold on this. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, audible.
So there is one other gogi called as the heutagogy. As far as the heutagogy is concerned, wherein you are studying of your own. Self-study is being done by the Gen Z kids, which means after this post-COVID scenario, they don't depend on the teachers to train. Nowadays, what happens is that they read through their YouTube channels. Even many of the household ladies, after coming from their job, they learn cooking or they do different dishes, new dishes after watching this YouTube only. After watching this kind of YouTube channel, and after watching this kind of recipe channels, only people wanted to cook and they wanted to do. So such kind of learning becomes called as a heutagogy, and this is what this heutagogy has been done even by the Gen Z kids. And cybergogy is one which has been done by the Gen Alpha kids, wherein they live only in the digital environment. They actually they try to mix everything, pedagogy, andragogy, and all sort of gogy, cutagogy, and everything into a kind of digital sources, and they work with the digital tools. And the guys, the Gen Z kids were born in early 2010 or 2011. That is just the start of generation. Even those people are now moved towards this kind of cybergogy. Then you have this pedagogy. Pedagogy, it's the name, but it's pronounced as pedagogy. Pedagogy is a kind of group discussion learning. So in the earlier days, the Gen Millennial guys or the Gen X guys, they used to say like, ma'am or mom or dad, I wanted to go to my friend's house to make a group study. If I'm going to do a group study, I will score well. But when you go for a group study, definitely you will chit chat and you will start watching movies. You will watch all sort of movies and then you sleep. You don't study at all. That was the generation of Gen Z and Gen Millennial who are working with this pedagogy. Then came into this kind of pedagogy. Pedagogy is for the kind of the applied learning, wherein all the practices people were able to work on, and it is also called as the orthogogy. Orthogogy exclusively is for the specially challenged students who are disabled students. So for them they cannot read, write, and for them they have to go for a kind of they work with the kind of special kind of tools. If they are blind means they have the kind of scribe tools and so on. Even I have also recently published one patent on for helping the blind man, wherein I have, as on date, I have 12 patent publications in India and 2 Australian patent grants, and one more patent is granted for me. So wherein out of these 13 in Indian patents, one is in the one patent exclusively deals with the orthogogy, wherein how to train the specially challenged groups. So these are the types of goggies people were using it. Now, so as said, these Gen Z learners or a kind of digital natives, tech fluent, and if you ask them to do, they will ask. Nowadays, everyone has started questioning. People will ask, what is in it for me? Why should I do? What sort of benefits will I get? Why should I do? So that's what the question the Gen Z learners ask for. They value autonomy. They ask why. They seek purpose. If I do this, what will I get? In the earlier days, we never asked for such things. We used to help others. We used to get help from others also. But nowadays, if a guy is going to help you, he will ask, what is it for me, ma? So why should I do this? And everyone has become independent, which means your father, the parent actually sees his own mobile. His mother actually works with her own laptop. The kid actually works with his own mobile. The alpha kid, as usual, they are always using mobile phones. So everyone has become independent. So that is not a good sign even. So these people, these Gen Z learners, they work on applied learning only. They don't work for, they are not anymore with the kind of theoretical learning. So gone are the days wherein we ask people to do kind of memorization. Nowadays they try to understand, they work on a practical basis and then they do things out. So they prefer more practical approach rather than theory. And hence it's called as they prefer experiential and they work on the self-directed learning. So these are the Gen Z kids. How this applied learning comes into picture? Applied learning is active experiences, which means learning by doing. If you have seen my classes or my lectures, many of my lectures are available in YouTube channels. Many of my lectures are available in the Ministry of Education, Government of India, Swayam Prabha channel, channel number 10, Daksh Swayam Prabha channel number 10. And this is part of, this is out of the 34 different channels. Channel number 10 is for people living in Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, and in Andhra Pradesh. So this channel, wherein all my videos gets televised from this particular channel called as Daksh Swayam Prabha, which is part of the Ministry of Education, and the Swayam Prabha is nothing but the broadened form of this Swayam. So when you could see all my videos, you can find like I would have not talked like this even at least for this session I am talking a lot. But there what I would have done is I would have given more exercises, more practical approaches. Even in the class, I do only application oriented questions, which means people should think and solve. People should sit and do as a teamwork. Then only people will learn things out. People should not be in a position to do a kind of rote learning, rote memorizing. They should be in a position to sit and work concepts. If they're going to sit and work only, then only they'll be knowing the practical difficulties, the practical advantages. So what happens over here is people will be in a position to execute it well, will be in a position to explain things well. And that's where the active experiences are, wherein the learning has been done by doing. As far as the project base is concerned, people will do a kind of experiential learning service. And now you might ask a question, sir, I am from the mathematics department. I am from the commerce department. I am from the accounts department. You may be from the computer science department, so you will say like this can be done like this, like that, and you people always play with the computers and you give out many more applications. For mathematics department, what do you do? Even in our institution, we have mathematics. So what we do is, whatsoever the questions that we give, everything becomes a kind of scenario based. The questions are of the hot basis. Hot is higher order thinking basis. So in the higher order thinking basis, it will be of scenario basis. And in the scenario basis, we will be asking them to work with a tool called MATLAB. Hopefully, mathematics department and even computer science department professors might be knowing, for generating a kind of visual representation, for generating kind of graphs, people use a tool called as MATLAB, and people also use a tool called as the Origin Pro. So in the Origin Pro, how many of you used Origin Pro? Even in one of my lecture series, I would explained about Origin Pro in detail, and we are 1 hour lecture series, which is available on YouTube also. So people, the question will be given, and that's what even I used to say. I used to go as a board of studies member to several colleges, like many colleges, like Ethiraj College in Chennai, STNB Vaishnava College, DG Vaishnava College, St. Peter's College, and several other colleges, Perry College, and several other colleges. So what happens over there is, even I used to say, do not give them the experiments as write a program, determine, find, calculate. Don't give questions of that sort. Give questions in such a way that it becomes an application programming. It becomes a scenario-based question. Where in the scenario-based question, people should be in a position to answer in a better way. So likewise, even I used to tell in the board of studies, wherever to whichever colleges that I go for, that's where the learning by doing comes into picture, and that's where the experiential learning comes into picture. And as far as the integration concepts are concerned, people, they work with the real world context. So for which you might wonder how many students join this VIT alone. Even these people belong to this Gen Z kids, where he was not, he's a good at studying, but he is not interested in joining any other institution but in VIT. Why is it so? It is because we train people to do coding part in a better way. We regulate the students in such a way that they get placed in a better manner, and that is the reason many people throng in our institution, and by now itself the engineering admission and everything got closed, wherein that becomes a kind of, people will be doing with a kind of real world concepts and context. Now, how do I align with the Gen Z learning preferences? What sort of, see, when I'm going to give it as a theoretical session, definitely people will start sleeping. Definitely people will start sleeping. So, in that scenario, we should see to that they don't sleep at all, which means we need to give a kind of activity based learning. We need to give only activities alone. For mathematics, we can use many different tools available. For computers, there's no query at all, there's no second thought at all. Whatsoever they generate, they can generate it as a software. So what happens? It enhances the problem skills, problem solving skills, and it enhances the collaboration aspect. Not only that, I told like I have somewhere around 12 patterns. I have published 12 patterns. You mean to say that I alone sit and work with these 12 patterns, or like other faculty members? What I do is I alone do a kind of this creativity. Like I alone ask people to or club with other faculty members. No, definitely not. What I do is I club only with the students, and when I club with the students, so I all 12 patterns are with my students and myself as the only this thing, and then as a career connection, even after they pass out, they remember me. So when they get granted, they get a promotion. So likewise, these are the options that are available. And this is where the alignment with Gen Z kids come into picture.
Sir, you are not audible. Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Am I audible? Okay. So is screen visible? No.
Sir, slide not visible, sir.
That is not visible. So this is where this is where the kind of is it visible? Hopefully yes, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is where the kind of even after they complete, they remember us and they get many of our students, and that's where the success is. That's where VIT also, the institution also leads with placements. Wherein few of the companies, they check how many papers you have published and what are the journals in which you have published, whether it is SCA, whether it is Q1, Q2, how many patents at the student level you have. And people, if they are going to explain, that's it. It's all done. They get immediately, they get placed. That is the mantra, that is the secret. So even we people, we as seniors, we should be in a position to train the students in such a way that they come up with unique ideas, and we need to patent as many unique ideas as possible so that it becomes a win-win policy. Both the students win as well we also win. So because we also get credited, and the students will also get credited. So, and that is the secret, and this motivates the students to study even more further, to explore many new contents. And let me give some more examples of how I handle the classes. But for the Gen Z kids, hopefully between 1990s and 2010 only, there are most of the kind of innovative activity came into picture. So something like you had a kind of PayPal, you had a kind of LinkedIn, you had a kind of YouTube, you had a kind of Google developments, and you had a kind of all these gimmicks, Wikipedia, Facebook. I suppose you might also remember before this WhatsApp and Facebook, you had one social media site which is called as Orkut. And in those days, people used to ask them, "Do you have an Orkut ID?" If you say you don't have an Orkut ID, then you will be treated separately. Which means Orkut was also famous in those days of before this kind of Facebook and all came into picture. So all these kind of new innovation, most of the things came with the uh, during the period of Gen Z kids only. And after this Gen Z, after during this Gen Alpha, we have many more innovations, inventions, usages with respect to the chat GPT tools, with respect to the other kind of AI related tools, Gen AI related tools, LLMs, and nowadays even I am a Gen AI trainer. So I give many different Gen AI tools training to corporate companies. So recently I gave a training to a company like Charisma Solutions Australia, and even some last month I gave an online training to a US Californian based company called as Steve Oasis. So, and even to a Luxembourg company called as ABO Carbon. So not only in Gen AI tools, also in the kind of digital visualization, data visualization concepts, exclusively with the terms of Power Query, Power BI, so on and so forth. So what happens over here is, so all these contents happen because of only it is possible. So you need to motivate the students in such a way that they shine, and because of them we also shine. That's the success mantra. Even when Dr. Karthikeyan was introducing, he said like Dr. Ganesh is a top 2% scientist, recognized as top 2 scientist in the world, recognized by Elsevier and Stanford University USA. It all happened only because of the students. We just become a ladder, and because of which the students work on. See, it's a next is a simple example which I did when I was in my previous institution, Welltech. I was the dean in the earlier days. So I just handled a class of just to swap two numbers using a temporary variable, wherein I had two numbers called as a equal to 5 and b equal to 3, and initially and finally the output should become as it should come as a equal to 3 and b equal to 5. So what I did is just had a kind of role play. So it might be a simple concept for us, but for the students, it is not a simple concept. It might be a new concept, and instead of chumma saying it as a equal to 5, b equal to 3, then use the temporary variable, then you represent this a to t and then map t to b and then b to t, so on and so forth. Not all students are equally capable. Not all students will be in a position to understand the concepts better. So what happens over here is, if I am able to explain it with a role play, if there are two books and I become a temporary variable, and how the books get interchanged through a role play, just by witnessing, maybe they giggle, they laugh, they do all the things, but they remember for a longer period. Say for example, I will also give you one other example which I used to give it to my students for the Gen Z kids. For the stack and queue example, what is a stack? Because always I am speaking and many are sleeping. I can, though it's an online session, I can infer. What is a stack? What is a queue? What is a stack? Stack is last in first out. Hopefully everyone are from, or they know kind of computers. Stack is last in first out, and queue is first in first out. In a queue, the example is, people say, they give the example as like, if you could stand in railway ticket counter, the first person will be issued the ticket first. If you stand in a cinema theater, the first person will be issued the ticket first. The last person will be issued the ticket last. Stack is last and first out. It's a pile of books, wherein the topmost book will be taken first, which has been kept at the last. So, but what I do is the same stack example. the same stack example, the same pile of books, the last book which has been placed will be taken up first, right? But I don't say with the example of the pile of books. I say it with the example of the idli cooker. What is it? I say with the example of idli cooker. When your mom or dad, when you place the idli plates, the idli plate which has been kept at the last, after it gets heated up, after you switch off your stove, the last plate will be taken up first. And the first plate, whatever you kept, will be taken up at the last. So now what is the difference? What is the difference that you would infer? See, if you could say a pile of books, a pile of handles, a pile of this thing, pile of that thing. That is all bookish example. When you say with an idli plate, the last plate has been taken up first. Whenever this guy starts eating idli, because idli is a common tiffin that has been made in South India. So whenever this guy starts eating idli, he will not only remember to have his chutney, he will remember about this stack example. Not only that, he will also go and speak with his parents and his relatives. I had one faculty, he was giving all kind of idli examples. He is an idli faculty. So at least for that matter, there will be a kind of brand recognition. There will be a kind of, like, he will be remembering the stack example for a longer run when it has been mapped to a real world example which has been consumed on a daily basis. And that too, if it is of a food ingredient basis, definitely people will be in a position to understand well. So that's how the Gen Z kids have to be trained, rather than giving them only the bookish examples. I don't ask you to give them the idlis, but you give the example of the idli plate being placed. Definitely people will be in a position to understand how the stack works, because not all kids know the working of stack at day one. So if you could say like this, definitely people will let them write the example of idli plate itself. But even then, that becomes correct as far as the stack example is concerned. So likewise, give them the day-to-day applications. That becomes easier. If you could see the other examples, see, always I handle my classes using this kind of activity-based learning. This kind of challenge is called as a marshmallow challenge. What is the original marshmallow challenge is, you need to buy a kind of spaghetti sticks. What is a spaghetti stick? A stick something like your Maggi noodles, which will be of straight and texture, and wherein it is easily breakable, and you can place a marshmallow at the top, wherein when the marshmallow is kind of chocolate, chow like jelly based chocolate, wherein it has been done with the help of this pig mass and so on. But what happens is that as people will not be in a position to purchase such heavily. So what I asked is, I asked them to go purchase a kind of ice cream sticks. So ice cream stick is 50 sticks, cost only 10 rupees. And buy a pencil, Nataraj pencil eraser. So what I give is, I ask them to give a task in my software engineering class. In my software engineering class, I say like, you form a group of 7 or 8 people and build a tallest standing tower, and at the top of the tower, the Nataraj pencil erasers to be placed, and you are not supposed to use gum at the bottom, and the tower, if you could make, you should be in a position to lift it And even if you're going to lift and if you're going to keep, it should not fall. It should be a taller standing tower. You can use threads across. You can use glues for the ice cream stick, but you can use a maximum of 20 sticks. But the tower should be tall and strong, not fallable, without folding. And at the top, it should hold the Nataraj pencil eraser. This is the task given. So, what do you think? Do you think the people will be working alone? Will be building the tower alone? Definitely not. I have not asked them. I have not said how the tower look and feel should be. So they need to create a baseline. They need to create a basement. Then only the tallest tower will stand. For which they will not do it alone. I have asked some 6-7 people to team up. So they will collaboratively work. And I will give them 10 minutes time to build this tower. Definitely people will not be completing in 10 minutes time. So what happens is that they will be, so this activity is for kind of software project management activity or software engineering activity, a team building activity, wherein collaboration is required. Individual should interaction is required. They should complete within the budget and time, which has not been made possible. So all these things are required to be done by them. So they will love to work. See in this photograph also, there are 2-3 teams who are sitting at the chair and doing. One guy is sitting at the bench and doing. One team is sitting at the ground. They have pushed off all the chairs. See, I never bother. Whatever you do, I want the tallest standing tower. That's my agenda. Within 10 minutes, they have to give. Now, in the examination, we're going to ask a question. What are the factors that are required for a team building activity? Then what happens? What are the lessons learned from there? These are the lessons. Teamwork, commitment to sit and involve themselves in their work. They don't they don't bunk the class at all. Even I will tell you, we have a scheme called as 9-pointer scheme. If your percentage is more than 90%, it's not required for you to come to the classes at all. You know one thing, most of my students are 9-pointers. And none of them bunk my class. They bunk other class, but they don't bunk my class. Why? Because I give such kind of activity-based learning. By having this, they know how to collaborate, how to interact with their own peers, friends, how to, and when they win, when they have built the tower, they will say, hooray, we have won, we have built the tower. It is not like I have built the tower, it is we have built the tower. That comes a kind of collective ownership. And initially they would have had a suggestion like we can build a very tall standing tower with a single stick itself. I didn't give them how to make the tower. Then the tower would have not stood at all and it would have fallen. So now they have a change of plan. They have a change of plan to come. They have a change of plan to complete it. Now there becomes a frequent requirements handling. At one point, they'll peep into the other team, how they are building, how fast they are building. So when they are building it at the faster pace, we should also build. So what happens is this, finally they might also, there is a possibility that they might fail. Our tower, this guy's tower will not stand as it was standing for the other guy. So that becomes a creep in requirement handling. And for which they need to change the plan. They need to change the plan. They need to change the plan of action by at least seeing others. So, and what is the I told? I asked them to complete the tower within 10 minutes time, which might not be possible. So then I would have given 2 more minutes extra, which means there's a time box of 10 minutes and it was sticking on to the budget. Budget is Within 26, they have to build the tallest tower possible. So, and then they'll say like, no sir, I don't have a Nataraj pencil eraser, I'll get it from my friend. So, which means it costs some extra budget for them. If a question is being asked for them, then there is a high end possibility that people will be in a position to answer it at ease. If I'm going to keep this question as a 10-mark question or as a 16-mark question, even a dull Gen Z kid will be in a position to give an explanation very well. So this is how I handle the classes. So this is how you never ever bother of how people are going to sit across. Let them sit elsewhere. Let them sit on the ground. Let them sit at the chair. Let them sit at the bench. Let them do anything and everything. But ask them to do. That brings up the creativity. This is where the application modeling comes into picture. This is where the activity based learning comes into picture, which is highly important for a Gen Z kid. Now, this is one of the lesson. Similarly, I have somewhere around 100 different activities, which I often, even if you could search in Google about Ganesh and you could put it as Tech, or if you could put it as VAT, many of my YouTube links come into picture. So even I had one other activity by name for estimation, the planning poker activity. For the planning poker model, they need to come up with kind of story points and they need to give it is relative, it's not consecutive one. So what happens is when it becomes relative, it comes into a picture of Fibonacci series. So this is how it works on. So if you could give such activity, then if you could give a 10-mark question or 16-mark question to the Gen Z kids, it will be highly effective for the students to work on. I don't stop with this. What I do is, apart from this, I bring up some industry people and I give them some industry connect talks so that they don't have a kind of fear during their placements. And Gen Z kids nowadays are becoming super active, super intelligent. They are more intelligent than faculty members. Agree? Agree or not? Or okay? My students are more intelligent than me. But there I cannot go say like you are intelligent, I am not. There they should not find in such a way that they are intelligent and I am not. Like you should be super intelligent than them, which means which means people, even for the Gen Z kids, when you give homeworks, many of the teachers have a bad habit. They used to tell, don't use GPT tools at all. Don't use chat GPT at all. For writing homework, if I find anyone using chat GPT, then you are done. They will mark a big zero. Why do you say like that? Why do you say like that? If you say not to use, students will use. It's a human mentality, basic psychology. So ask them to use chat GPT tools. Ask them to use GPT tools and let them come up with a solution. What I do is I give them many different assignments. My practical experiences, I give them many different assignments. I ask them to work with the GPT tools. But what I say is, I ask them to explain, give a video of what they have learned from the kind of GPT tools. So what they have learned from the downloaded GPT contents. So I asked them to prepare a video and asked them to explain. So what makes here, even if they are downloaded, it will make them to study. It will make them to explain in their own words, in their own words. So that's where the student level learning comes into picture. So likewise, ask students to use the kind of GPT tools. One moment.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir. Sir, your voice is not audible, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much. Very much. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So what happens over here is, this is how the Gen Z kids are. So ask them to use GPT, and it is convenient for them, and wherein they can download it from their mobile itself. It saves time for both teachers and for students. And for the Gen Z kids, when you handle the classes, do not always give a kind of chalk and talk method. Keep many different quizzes. How do you keep quiz? What are the ways in you give quiz?
We can give quizzes, sir, using Mentimeters and all.
Very good, very good. You can use Mentimeter, you can use Kahoot, you can use quizzes, you can use Quizlet, you can use Parlay. So you can use Parlo, you can use Palo. So you can use so many tools. Very good, madam. So likewise, if we could give, what is the purpose of, what is the advantage of giving a quiz using Kahoot?
Interactive, it will be more interactive, sir.
How will it be interactive? Not only gives the answers, it will tell you which fellow has given
Learning, sir. It will be like fun.
at a faster pace. Who has given the answer within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and wherein his name, and that answer will be correct also, and his name will be at the top in the leaderboard. So that leaderboard will also be visible on the screen. So because of this, what happens? None of my students will start sleeping in the class. Everyone wants to at least ask the answers from their friends and wants to come up at the top in the leaderboard. So because of which, even if they are not able to answer also, they get the answer from their friends, and they will be knowing from others. So this is how people start to score well. So use many kind of GPT tools, many kind of Quizlet tools. I will show you few tools. You let me know what are the tools that you people are using it. So first I will tell you what are the pros of using this GPT in education for a Gen Z kid. It always provides feedback. Cons is, because of which many people might have will be saying, you guy, you say like you are working from home, but you never sit and chat with me. You always sit with the system. And even you speak to your kids, you tell like he is always sitting with the in front of the computer. You do not know what he is doing at all, but he is always at the in the front of the computer. Because of that is the con of using a chat GPT, wherein it lacks human interaction, and you become technology dependent. 99% of software IT people, if you disconnect the internet, if you disconnect Google, if you disconnect internet facility for a day, they will not come to job at all. They will resign their job, because for anything and everything they require internet. Without internet, they do not know how to code at all. 99% of software engineers do not know how to code at all. So why it happens? As days goes on, they become technology dependent. This Gen Z kids is not the other side. They are also technology dependent. They wanted anything and everything. What is that? What is the tool that you use for technology dependency for building the codes, for bringing some pictures. You can use a tool called blackbox.ai. People use a tool called as ZZcode.ai. People use a tool called codeconverter.ai. So there are several tools of this sort. So what happens is that if you don't give them the tool, they do not know how to work. They know how to crack the tool, but without the tool, they do not know how to work at all. So people become technology dependent. Gen Z kids are technology dependent, not only them. And we as teachers, we should also know what are the tools students are using. Only for that reason, I ask the Gen Z kids for the application learning, wherein ask them to come up with solution. Let them come up. Let them find ways, and they will come up with a better clarity which we would have ever even thought of. And that clarity, after we could gain knowledge from them in disguise, we can explain the same thing to the other class people also. So they also learn, we also learn. So make them the kind of application learning. Don't give them rote memorizing, rote writing skills. And the other cons are there's no, people will get only limited information. There's no kind of room for creativity. Nowadays, even if you want to do a kind of design, how do you do? People use a design with the help of Canva. Gone are the days when people use this plant UML. Gone are the days when people use this kind of Flutter, so on. Nowadays, people design using this Canva. So use the, because of which they get anything and everything in the plug and play. So they don't have a kind of creativity, and if at all they are creative, for that creativity also they type from the Google, they get the images and then they place it. Even I'm doing one project with UGC for working with the kind of cartoon animation, 2D cartoon animation. I'm preparing 2D cartoon animation for some moral stories, and wherein it will be screened in one village of Uttar Pradesh, wherein there are many Sanskrit lovers. So they do not know English. So for them, I'm creating a cartoon, moral story cartoon, and the voiceover will be given in Sanskrit, but with the caption in English. So this is a UGC project. So what happens is that even there, for creating the cartoon, if you want to identify forest area, if you want to find out a sun, even for that I go with this kind of Gen AI tools, and I find out many different images, and I mix and match. So this is where people do. In the earlier days, people used to draw and create the cartoon. Nowadays, everything has become plug and play. So this becomes the end of thinking skills. So as a professor, ask the student to work with GPT and evaluate the students. Like as I asked, ask them to explain the assignment, ask them to create a video. People will say, sir, I don't have a YouTube account, sir. If they are going to have a Gmail account, people whomsoever is having Gmail account, by default they will have a YouTube account with the Gmail, which means with the Gmail ID itself, I'm going to sign in the YouTube, you will get the access. So nowadays, from now on, don't entertain people whomsoever is saying I don't have a Gmail account. Sorry, a YouTube account. So if he is going to have a Gmail account, then you will have a YouTube account as well. So ask them to, and when they are posting it, don't ask them to put it in a public mode. Ask them to put it in a private mode. Why? Then only, other than you, no one else could see. Because their privacy is also important. Don't say like, sir, this one fellow came and gave a lecture and asked people to put everything and everything in YouTube. And because of that, many private issues came into, were highlighted. And because of that, something and all happened. See, I say like, you ask them to upload it, two options will be asking. Either modes will be there, either private mode or public mode. Ask them to put in private mode and ask them to share the link. When the link is clicked by you, only you can access the file. No one else could access the file. So that is the advantage, so that their privacy will not go away. So wherein you can be so confident enough and use as many GPT tools, Gen AI tools as possible in the classes. These are some of the tools which even I use in my classes. I do not know how many of you use these tools. So that when you
Can we use these tools for practical component like financial management, accounting for manager subjects?
definitely yes, madam. Definitely yes. Even see, I said like I am a corporate trainer. I gave training for this Charisma Solutions Australia. I gave training for the accounts managers who are all 15 years of experience, minimum 15 years of experience, accounts and finance manager levels, the deputy managers, the manager level, wherein I gave them many different Gen AI tools, but I have not explicitly specified those tools here. There are several other Gen AI tools. Even if you could use, when you could use this Power BI and all, there is a tool called as Copilot. And when you use this Tableau, there is a tool called as Einstein. And when you use this Excel, there's a tool called as Excel Analytics. And when you use this data visualization tool, there is a tool called as Xtiles. For data visualization, for data wrangling, there's a tool called as Data Squirrel. I have not explained, I have not put up those tools here because this session is not of the Gen AI tool session. That is a separate session. This session is for to motivate, to make the Gen Z kids to become an active learner. So only for that I have not given those tools. There are whatever tools that I told you some few seconds back. Those are the tools that has been used in the finance management sessions. So you can even make use of those tools whatsoever I have told. So Xtiles and all, it's a very good tool. Grapha.ai, Graphmaker.ai, Ainblick.ai. These are so many tools that are available exclusively for the financial management students. But any student for that matter, when they work with the kind of, when you're going to keep a quiz, you can use these tools like Kahoot or Quizzes or Quizlet or Questionwell. How many of you use Questionwell? I do not know. So you can use all these tools. These are, see, I'm just giving you a small tip of an iceberg. I'm not giving you all tools because Gen AI session is different. If I'm giving a Gen AI session, there I will be giving 300, 400 tools. But this tool is only for the kind of, just to make the Gen Z kids to become active participants so that they learn a lot, they win, because of them, we also win. So this is some of the explanation of the tools that is given here. Adobe Firefly, which is a designer, illustrator, and Photoshop tool. QReport is where in some of the colleges, wherein, see, I do not want to offend any college. Uh, I was a principal in one of the engineering college in JI Engineering. Okay, wherein we used to ask, like, because of the compulsion of the management, as a principal, even I used to ask people to prepare notes, 4-column notes, 5-column notes, 6-column notes, and faculty member will be sitting and writing. But what is the advantage of writing? Why do you want to write nowadays? You can effectively use this kind of QReport tool. This is not the only tool. There are even more better tools for writing, making notes of lesson. This advantage is here. QReport gives you an interactive presentation. Will give you a kind of dashboard kind of presentation. So there are several other tools also. So you can definitely make use of it, madam. So Goblin tools or for compilation, for estimations and all. I told about this planning poker game. Thus and all, you can play with this kind of Goblin tools. Conquer and all. With Conquer also you can create quizzes like Quizlet, quizzes, and so on. So like Kahoot and so on, only Parlay only you can make use of. Parlay Genie also I given, which will be helpful for a kind of classroom discussion. So these tools will make the Gen Z kids to become interactive. they will come up with better ideology. Okay, which means many people, many students in many of the arts and science college or in engineering colleges, what happens is that is people will be people will have a fear, stage fear. From the desk, they will be in a position to answer. When you ask them to come to the stage and speak, their hands and legs will start shivering. So, for which they need to have a kind of public speaking skills as well. So these are some of the public speaking skills tools that they need to follow upon, so that they become a better guy in terms of speaking. See, again, as I said, I have not come here to deliver a lecture on public speaking or on the research tools of the Plague tools or on the kind of GPT tools. It is to make the Gen Z kids to become active enough so that they win and we win through application learning. That's where this session is all about. So only I have taken only a very few slides from the other deliverables, because I week on week I deliver sessions to many different institutions on many different topics, based on which, like, it's not a single topic. I deliver sessions on AI tools, on research writing using AI tools, Gen AI tools, so on. And then what are types of plagiarisms, what is a flag, what do you mean by retraction, so how to write a research paper, like as I used to give. So here in this session I have taken only one or two slides from those things. Why? Because my students, if I ask them to write paper, they come up with a very neat paper within a day. They would have used all kind of ChatGPT tools, because uh, I only gave a green signal to make use of ChatGPT tool, but not in paper writing. So nowadays, what they do is they use this kind of GPT-0, they use this kind of humanizer tools, they use this kind of Sparkle tools, so that what happens is it is, wherein even the AI internet will not be in a position to find out their answers. So for which I have told them what are different types of flag available. I do not know, as faculty members, how many of us know what are different types of flag available. Before you could see that these are some of the ICT tools, information communication technology tools, that I would have used in some of the classes: BlendSpace, Padlet, Prezi, Poly. I do not know how many of you would have used it. Kindly make use of these tools, so that these are very few tools that I'm showing you from my Gen A training sessions. So kindly make use of these tools so that people will have an interactive session. So make them to work. So you just ask them to come up with an idea. Ask them to speak. People will say, "Sir, I do not have communication. I lack English communication. I do not know how to speak in English at all." Let them speak in regional language. You know one thing I told before I could start the session, I told, like, today I had three different programs, and I completed all the programs. And one of the program was on Swayam. I am a Swayam speaker from 2013 onwards. Even today I talk on for a course called Iyakka Mureimai. Gone are the days when I gave the talk on artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence in Tamil. Sorry, I gave a talk today. I gave a talk on Serkai Nunnarivu. So gone are the days when I gave a talk on artificial intelligence. Now it's a time to give a talk in the regional language, wherein I given it in Tamil, which is called as Serkai Nunnarivu. Till last week, I gave a talk for Iyakka Mureimai. What is Iyakka Mureimai? Even a guy who is a Tamil medium guy, he do not know what is Iyakka Mureimai. Yes. If you're not transliterating in English, operating system in Tamil is called as Iyakka Mureimai. So I gave a talk. So which means, even if people could say, like, I'm not conversant in English speaking, I do not have a good command over the language, then ask them to come up speaking in Tamil, speaking in this own regional language, Tamil or Hindi or Telugu or Kannada or whatsoever language. But they should open up with a bang. They should use the role of one. You know one thing, one of my students who had somewhere around 13 arrears, now he is the project manager in Zoho. Even till date, he does not know how to speak English. But he is very good at coding. He is very good at giving the outputs. So, there in Zoho, they employ people who have talent, not the English skill. There are certain companies of that sort. So let people get placed in such companies. So ask them to come up with some kind of public speaking cheat code skills. And many of my, as I was telling, many of my students, when I asked them to tell about the flag, this is what this slide I give out in my research discussion topics. If I ask them to give, people will just like give a paper and they will leave. They will leave the campus, they will complete the degree and they will leave. And suppose if I get caught, I am the person who is answerable. How many of you people are aware that the types of plagiarism? There are so many types of plagiarism: global plagiarism, verbatim plagiarism, and even there is one other plagiarism which has not been given here, which is called as torture phase plagiarism. You know what is torture phase plagiarism? People will say, sir, I took from GPT, sir, but I paraphrase it and I have written it in my own words. There, technical terms, if it has been given as operating system, it is operating system elsewhere. It should not be given as system that has been operated. What you will do is when you are paraphrasing, people will be telling it a system that has been operated, and where in that system that has been operated, that system will have a software. That's not operating system.
Certain terms we cannot rephrase, sir.
You should not rephrase also. Such
Even for example, like capital structure, dividends, these are the terminologies we cannot rephrase.
yes, dividends cannot be replaced at all. Capital structure cannot be replaced at all. Ledger cannot be replaced at all. But these people try to rephrase it. I handled a class for the Sindhi college, wherein people start to rephrase the contents, but that should not be done at all. That is called as tortured phrase plagiarism. See, these are some of the plagiarisms which why I to put this slide as my students when they write papers, I used to insist, see, you're not using this kind of plagiarism in your work. So because of these kind of tools, because of this kind of usage of these kind of tools, not only my institution, if you are going to use these tools in your institution, to your own students, to all your Gen Z kids, even to your sons and daughters who belong to the Gen Z arena, then there will be a proven educational outcome wherein they will have a kind of 70% of their critical thinking. They will try to find out new tools. See, I don't say like they will try to study even more hard. Nowadays people, no one studies hard. If you are studying hard, you will not succeed. You should be a smart guy. Rather than a hard worker, be a smart worker. You should be a hard worker and a smart worker, which means smart work in the sense not cheating anyone. You should be in a position to know how and where to say what. See, last week just one other example. Last week I had a doctoral committee meeting for my scholar, one of my scholars, wherein I framed the self-study course for my one other scholar some 2 years before. The DC member, doctoral committee members, they asked a question like, what made you to choose this topic? Why in syllabus this particular topic has been made available? You know what this girl said? She came from Ethiraj College. She did her master's in Ethiraj and now she is a research scholar of mine. So she said like, no. This point has been dealt in this particular topic and hence it has been taken. And this syllabus is exclusively framed for my own research topic. And because of this, I can achieve this kind of optimization level. I can do this, that. And even I was also amazed, because this was framed for a girl who did her doctoral research some 3 years before. But even I was also amazed and astonished, which means why I say this is, you should become not only a hard worker, You should be smart enough to answer the queries. And not always, not all days are Sundays. All days are not Sundays. There are certain critical days, but even then, at least people will be nowadays. People should do a kind of smart work. So motivate the youngsters, motivate the Gen Z students to do a kind of smart work, and it is our responsibility to motivate them. It is our responsibility to have a kind of critical thinking. So only they will come up with a plan. You can tell, like, see, this is the tool I am using. This is one other tool. Now you go compare these two tools, come up with a solution. Tell me what is right in that tool, what is right in this tool, what is wrong there, what is wrong here, and come up with the conclusion. And if you can make a new tool, it will be all the better. You know one thing? Definitely this question will make the Gen Z kids to create a new tool which will have the insights from both the tools. Let them be a BCom guy. Let them be an MCom guy. Nowadays, coding is not at all required. Zero code. Even if you could seen my any of my Gen Z Gen A lectures, any of the video lectures, wherein I would have given a separate lecture series for a series of lectures for zero codes. A BCom guy can produce a very good software, a financial software, a marketing software, a marketing analytics software. My students have also done it. A marketing analytics software with even touching upon a code. If provided, I need to show them two different tools. See, this tool works like this. This tool works like this. Now come up with a new tool. You know, they will come up, and that is the way of motivating a Gen Z kid. So we have a kind of this kind of case studies and implementation models. So even I am a Atal guy, wherein Atal Swayam, what it does is like for one of the school in Sedu Bhaskara, wherein I am being nominated by Government of India, wherein we have got on laboratory for 12 lakhs. So what it does is like something like a makerspace. Makerspace I have it in my college, in my institution, in our institution, where this STEM lab is a dedicated learning environment, and that will give you a kind of hands-on explorational learning in terms of science, technology, so that people will come up with flourishing colors. So we have built one lab wherein, as of now, only 6 lakhs has been sanctioned by Government of India, and as a, as a as a Atal person deputed by Government of India, I was just acting as a middleman between Government of India and the Syed Bhaskara School, and giving those funds, and they have built a very big lab. And now that school has invested even more fund, and they have built up exclusive, extraordinary lab. This makes the students to come up, because the K-12 school students are not from the Gen Z. They are all alpha kids. So they need even more better pathways to pathway and deliverables. So we mold them from the school level itself. So here in institution we have this maker space, divine space, so on. And secondary education have capstone project. What is capstone project? The final year projects we call it as a capstone project. And in our institution, we make a mandatory credit course. We ask the students to go for an internship during their summer breaks. We give them 1.5 months leave, summer vacation. But within that 1.5 months, they are supposed to give us 30 working days of 30 working days of work that they have done in an industry. They need to identify an industry, go work. They should not pay and work. They should not go pay and get the certificate. Either the industry should pay them, or they should do it for free. They should never ever pay and go to the industry. So we will give them somewhere around 200 industries. They can work in those industries, or they can go with any other industry wherein they should not pay. Only either the industry should pay or they should work for free. So because of which, when they work in the industry, when their second year completion itself, they would be knowing, learning many different new applications that has been used in the industry. So that when they come to the third year itself, they will start building their own application. They will say like, this is the application that I saw in the industry. This is how I am going to work. These are the tools that was taught to me by my masters. So I will frame this tool and I will also sell this tool. So such is the capability of the students, and that makes the students to become an entrepreneur. Not all students become uh, the job goers or the job seekers. So this is just, we act as only as a spark. So it is them, it is the Gen Z kids who bring up with the laurels. So this is how we are supposed to do things out. And what are the barriers? Teachers need to be trained first. See, even I went to one college, I think it is MOP, no, SDNB. SDNB. So in that there, that madam showed me MSc syllabus wherein I was a BOS member. She showed me good syllabus. She told this is there, that is there, everything is seems to be very good, excellent. I asked only one question: does the faculty member know to teach these topics? She said yes. Then how will you retain that particular faculty member? If she is going to teach like very good, then what is the probability that she will not go to the industry, she will not leave this job? And supposing if she leaves this job, who is the alternative faculty to teach this particular subject? Then they were clueless. So why I say this is, nowadays when you could say agentic AI, super AI, so on and so forth, AGI, XAI, so on and so forth, or OI, organized intelligence, so on and so forth. The teachers has to be trained. The curriculum redesign has to be required. And there are some resource constraints. Not all institutions will be in a position to purchase anything and everything. And that is the reason wherein we have one other AI tool called as never install, wherein we don't require any tool to be installed, and we can use it at ease using this kind of using the Gen AI tools. There are never install. There are several other tools, and you have this kind of assessment alignments wherein faculty should be assessed. Then only they can deliver it to the students, and then institution will be having their own resistance. They should, faculty or nowadays, as I said, with the elbows never install and all, you don't need to ask your management at all. Since that is also free, this is also free. It is free for 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes you can ask them to work, and it is paid for next 1.5 hours, and after that 1 hour 31st minute again for 30 minutes it's free. So you can ask your students to work on that itself. So pathway to successful integration is educator training, ongoing support, to have an experiential learning, and you need to have a kind of public-private collaborations. How do I have it? Again, I need to go with the kind of industry people. See here, this fellow is giving a talk. He is a senior software architect, and he is a Toastmasters guru. He is a Toastmaster guru in Infosys. His name is Ramanan. He was one of my scholar in the early days. So he's a Toastmaster guru and senior architect in Infosys. When he's going to give his own insights, then he will be in a position to say like how, what is there in industry and where students are lacking. And since our students have gone for a summer internship, they know this is what we have done in this industry. What is it you are going to do in your industry, and how do I take it forward? And that spark, they will use it in the capstone project. So here it becomes a kind of project based learning. So they learn in terms of real world projects. So this is where likewise Gen Z kids has to be trained in a trained for a lifelong learning through application mode. So we can prepare the Gen Z kids for the future. We can have a lifelong learning by giving them real world examples. We can even build more and more skills by giving them few small tools. We can even bridge the gaps provided the faculty should be trained, but the trained faculty should not be in a position to leave the organization or institution. They should have a flair and passion to train the students. Then Gen Z kids will rock the world along with the upcoming alpha kids. They will become an equal competitor for the alpha kids if such trainings have been imparted to them. So thank you. Signing off. Any queries?
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. Sir, I have a query. When it comes to the research domain, can we have any software
Sorry.
for data analysis?
Hello? Your voice is breaking.
Sir, thank you, sir, for your valuable insights how to teach the Gen Z. So it was really informative. You have given some tools, important tools, how to engage the students. Sir, I have a query. When it comes to the research area, as a faculty, as an academician, can we have some of the tools, statistical analysis tools?
Yes, that's what I told. Textiles.
Using AI, I'm talking about AI tools for data analysis and interpretation.
That's what for AI tools only you have Xtiles, you have Voice One, you have Xtiles, you have Voice One, you have Grapha AI, you have Craftmaker AI, you have Einblick AI, you have this Copilot along with this Power BI. These are the tools that are available for data analysis alone. Data Squirrel is a very good tool. These are the tools
Can
for
we
data analysis. Yes.
can we perform like exponential factor analysis? This kind of can we do, sir?
Yes, in Data Squirrel it can be done. This can be done.
Okay,
In Xtiles it can be done.
okay, sir. Okay,
Even
thank
some
you so much.
last but 1 week, I gave a talk to this Fisheries University, Dr. J. Jayalalitha Fisheries University, Mahabalipuram, wherein I gave a hands-on session on this financial management tools alone. So it can be done.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
This is Dr. Sunita from Mysore. Sir, I
Yes,
just want to know how to develop a consistent interest among students. Nowadays, Gen Z, the level of receiving or level of listening ability, it's totally lost. I say actually because of this AI and other things, they have become too lazy, and I know they are not ready to learn, put hard work or anything like that. How do you
yes.
suggest for this?
That's what, madam. You make them to work on an application. You give them a practical. See, my classes. You give them all kind of activity-based learning classes. Mostly you cover them with activity based learning, so definitely people will come up with a solution. Let them work with Gen AI tools, let them work with chat GPT tools, ask them what they have learned in the Gen AI tool, ask them to make a video recording of it or an audio recording of it, even let them come up with even there. I will tell you,
Okay. Yes, sir.
if you are going to place your photograph,
Uh-huh.
just your face alone in a tool called Hazen, HEYZEN.
Okay.
And if you're going to just give a small 3-4 points alone to that Hazen tool, it
Yes,
will
sir.
prepare a 15-minute video of yours similar like you are speaking.
Done.
Yes, sir, it is a
Okay.
fraudulent work only, but I will tell
Yeah.
you, for
Uh-huh.
that also students have spent some time in in creating such kind of work. So that will become helpful when they could go for a news industry and all. So you
Okay.
don't require a news assistance at all. Just a photograph will do in kind of narrations. There is a tool called
Done.
Kling AI. Kling AI works even more better. There's a tool called Akul AI. Even when I said like I went to the Sri Lanka, I went to
Uh-huh.
several universities in Sri Lanka, and one of the university by name South Asian University of Sri Lanka wherein I gave an exclusive hands-on training on 2 different tools. One is called as Akul AI, other one is called as a Wiggle AI tool. Wherein whatever we said, like just 2 minutes will make into 30 minutes of anyone, like all the your you're going to upload your photo and full video will be coming of yours. It will look like as if you have spoken. So at least for finding those tools, people should be in a position to work, right? So such kind of spark will make them to explore what are the tools that are available, how it is working. Let them find out shortcuts. That's the way of making them to have a kind of smart work.
Thanks, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes.
Dear participants, you can post your questions in chat box. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative presentation, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So any other questions from participants, sir? Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our management for providing this opportunity. And my special thanks to our speaker, Ganesh sir, for accepting the invitation and share these valuable insights. Last but not least, I thank all the participants for their active engagement. Once again, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, okay. Thank you. You can reach me. I suppose I have shared my mobile number as well. So you can reach me anytime if you have any queries. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Dear participants, feedback link has been posted in chat box.
Sir, morning session also you just share, sir.
So I suppose I can leave the session, Karthikeyan sir.
Sir?
I can leave the session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, short quick one. You share personally, sir. You just send message in WhatsApp.